5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now live.
89.5 WSKB.
From the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley. With convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut, visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org. Tuesday with Bob Plass. Hi, Bob. He keeps freezing. Good morning, Jay.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Bob Plass is out there somewhere. I see you out there, Bob.
He keeps freezing.
It's
He must have other things running on his
It's
computer.
because it's cold outside.
That has nothing to do with the interwebs.
Oh, sorry about that.
Jeez, he thought this would be a good idea from home.
Oh, leave poor Bob at home alone
I'm
here.
going to tease him about it.
We're being
We're
cautious.
watching a frozen screen of Bob.
He looks like he is deep in thought, doesn't he?
He was about to say something is what he was doing. He was about to start the show is what he was doing.
No, I'm already looking forward to spring. I have my Red Sox shirt on. I'm hoping we'll have baseball this year.
Yep, there he goes. He dropped out again.
That's all right. He'll be back. Yeah.
Bob, restart your computer.
It's nice to see that we are looking at the world from far above. I do kind of like that.
That's one of the stock backgrounds in Zoom.
I know, yeah, but it's refreshing to know. There he is. He's back.
Hi, Bob.
You there?
You're muted.
Take yourself off mute, Bob. How often do we hear that on a Zoom call?
There we are.
There we are.
You keep
Where
freezing,
was I?
Bob.
I was right there. What happened? I get something happened to the thing, huh?
I don't know. You keep freezing yourself.
Freezing. I'm not. All I'm doing is standing here. I'm sitting here.
Yeah, I don't know. You're every
can I
so often
freeze
you
myself?
freeze up. You freeze up. I don't know. Like now.
Like
You're
now,
frozen.
yep, you're frozen again. Quick, get a screenshot of that.
We could do that afterwards on the post.
Okay. Oh man, it's going to be one of those mornings. Hey, you know what? While he's out there trying to
Text him, reboot his computer.
yeah. Why don't you do that? And while we're waiting for Bob to get back in, you and I started a conversation yesterday about censorship in general, but mostly kind of pointedly at the Twitters and the
big
internet.
tech companies.
The big tech companies trying to censor things around. And yeah, that might be a discussion worth having for a bit this morning, because it's fascinating to me. It honestly is. I'm trying to stay away from the politics of all of this, but communications in general is a fascinating subject for me, and I see Bob's trying to get back in. Can you
He
hear
keeps
him?
cycling. You keep cycling like to a freeze, like right there.
Yeah, there he is.
You might need to reboot your computer, Bob. It looks like you're freezing every so often.
Mostly often.
Yeah. Like again. I just sent him a text saying reboot your computer.
Okay, so once he does that, that'll be good.
Yeah.
Now, there's concern on both sides here, and you were, in fact, I never did get a chance to hear the rest of your argument on this.
So these tech companies. So here's the thing. And here's the delineation part. A publisher like the New York Times or New York Post or something like that, a publisher, has to be responsible for the content it puts out. Okay? So if they print something that's libelous, they could be sued. So Section 230 of the Telecommunications Act puts out that Twitter and Facebook and things like that are platforms. They do not decide the content of their thing. So they're not responsible for the content. Okay? Which helped them flourish because they were basically immune from being sued. When they started specifically censoring stories, like during this campaign cycle, it was very, very bad. They suppressed the Hunter Biden story. So now, are you a platform anymore? You know what I mean? Like it wasn't that Hunter Biden story wasn't inciting violence or anything like that. Are you a platform or are you a publisher? If you are a publisher, you come under different rules than if you are a platform. So what happens is they're caught in their own lies. So as a platform, they suppressed the Hunter Biden story, which made them a publisher because now they're making editorial decisions. When they suppressed and suspended President Trump's account, At the same time, they left the leader of Turkey. They left up Antifa. They left up the Chinese Communist Party. They left up the ruler of, I don't even think that the ruler of Cuba has a Twitter account, but they left up the Ayatollahs of Iran, people that are chanting death to every Jew. They were talking about how they were exterminating people in their own country that was a minority. So they left up all these other people that are inciting violence, and then they took down Trump. So they're making editorial arbitrary decisions. So now the question is, are they still a platform? Or are they responsible for the content on their servers? Now, Amazon removed a competitor to Twitter, Parler, because they said they were responsible for the stuff on their platform, even though they have basically the same terms of service as Twitter and Facebook and things like that.
That was Parler, you said?
Yes, it's a competitor to Twitter.
And that's just a recent thing, right?
Right, within the last 2 years, yeah. So they became very popular because Twitter started censoring conservatives. So conservatives said, well, all right, if we're going to get censored over here, we're going to move to a platform where we're not going to get censored. So Apple, this came out yesterday, Apple sent an email to Parler saying, well, you're responsible for all the content on your platform. Really? Okay. So why isn't Twitter? Why aren't you removing Twitter? Because they have the same problem that we do. We can't. We're not gonna. They're not gonna read everything. Twitter basically is now scanning everybody's tweets. They're scanning them for content, and they're removing them for content as an automated thing. Facebook's been doing it for over a year now. So the question is, are you a publisher or are you a platform? That's what it boils down to. The Republicans wanted to move those protections because they said, you're basically coming after conservatives and you're no longer a platform. Now, Democrats said and gave very strong toned overtures to these big tech companies saying that if you didn't get rid of Trump, we were going to go use the same Section 230 against you that the Republicans wanted to. So they're all playing games.
Well, if you take the politics out of it, and I say that on purpose because it colors, it colors the argument a little bit one way or the other. But think about the early days of communication. Obviously, writing was one of the early days, but once newspapers became the norm. You're absolutely right. They are responsible for what they print. Now, mass communication, when radio came out, and then especially when it started to have the ability to be broadcast around the world instantly, that was the first instant communication.
But again, they're also responsible for their content.
You're exactly right. But why are they responsible for their content? They are regulated, as are we right here. We're live radio. We're regulated by the FCC on a lot of levels.
To a certain extent, yes.
For a lot of reasons. And, I mean...
to a certain extent, yes, and to a certain extent, no, because there are no... as far as I know, there are no direct rules for cable access. I try to meet those rules for decency and things like that.
As far as what we say.
Right.
But remember, we're also going out over the air. Cable access is...
Technically, it's not.
Is a gray area.
If you read the rules of the FCC, it really means over the air. We are not transmitted over the air. We are transmitted over a wire. So,
but we're going. We are on the air 89.5
for that part of it. Yes.
Yes, that's why we have to be careful what we say, because that part of it is on. If we were only on cable, if we were only on the internet, rules are different.
Slightly, yes, slightly.
But
I try to respect those rules at all times.
Right. So let's go back to the olden days when I was young. So you go back to the early days of radio. The government found that and actually a lot of this seemed to be for decency reasons. They didn't want smut on the air, I guess is the way.
Yeah,
it
always finds a way in.
It does do that, yes, somehow. A lot of double entendres, but if for good reasons, the FCC kind of kept control over that, but radio had freedom to, within reason, to tell both sides of the argument. Now, here's where it gets here's where it gets where I am fascinated by this. And news in general. News is supposed to tell a balanced story, or at least 100 years ago that was the case. Here's your side, and that's my job as a newscaster, to tell that both those sides to the world in a balanced way. As soon as that newscaster starts to sway one way or the other, and Paul Harvey made it clear, if anybody remembers Paul Harvey on the air, he would tell the news.
Paul Harvey.
And that's the way it is.
No, he'd about Paul Harvey news and comments.
There you go. He made it clear right up front that I'm here to tell you the news, but I'm also going to comment on it.
Yep.
Now, it's not only just radio. Telephone is regulated. And if you think about it, no, it's not. It's just two people talking. Well, it is, and it's monitored, again, under the guise of the courts. If you want to get a wiretap, you got to go through the courts to do it.
Right.
But what you say on the telephone, if you're conspiring to do something, you can get caught. Amateur radio, same thing. That can go around the world. But it's regulated. Now we get, because there's different governments, they regulate things differently, and frankly, we're darn lucky here in this country that it's fairly regulated. And
so half the time I upload a show, right? The popular music that we use, Bob, your show was flagged a couple of times last week.
No, last week it's not on now. There's a thing that says I'm lumped in with Trump.
You're in limbo.
Right. But you're not lumped in with Trump because there was a copyright claim.
No, the copyright's a whole different.
That's different.
thing.
It's not because of something you said. It's because of something you played. But
I was going over everything that I said, thinking, "Oh my God, did I say?"
No, Bob.
No, it's usually the music.
That's your paranoia, Bob. That's different. That's different. No, you're not cuckoo.
I wasn't going to use the term cuckoo, Bob, but
it's just paranoia. That's a diagnosable disease.
Right, mental illness, right here. No, that's
good
not cool.
Lord. Anyway, so it's just, is it a platform or is it a publisher?
Well, now,
if you're not applying your rules equally, then you're making editorial decisions, and you therefore de facto become a publisher. My bigger problem is that these tech companies have become de facto governments. So there's a ruling from the Supreme Court that I saw yesterday that I read about, that says there was a company-owned town and they were prohibiting religious flyers being put on some buildings or something. And the Supreme Court ruled that even though it was a company-owned town, you're the de facto government. And because of the de facto government in the United States, you have to follow the rules of the Constitution. So that precedent could be brought out against tech companies saying, well, guess what? You've become a government now. You're the town hall. You're the town square for America. Facebook, Twitter. You've become the town square.
Interesting.
And if you've become the town square and the people have come to rely on that as a utility, right? Now, are you subject to First Amendment freedoms? Can you not just arbitrarily ban somebody based on your terms of service? Because they're sweeping right now, getting rid of thousands and thousands and thousands of accounts. And
all the ones that they suspect would get them in trouble.
Well, but they're leaving up leaders.
Us in trouble.
They're leaving up leaders like the Iranian leaders. They're leaving up leaders. They're leading up groups like Antifa.
But
so
put all that again.
You're censoring a group of people.
Now you're bringing politics into it. They're now circling the wagons, thinking the legal eagles. And if you think about it, what's been said recently, however you interpret it, what's been said in the past week on the air and recorded, and is out there for everyone to see. There's legal eagles racking up billable hours by the thousands right now, analyzing everything that was said. and how that can be interpreted, and and that's what's going to be in the courts, and that's how this stuff is going to be decided. Now, in the last 30 years, communications has made leaps and bounds, and it's because of technology. Of course, that's always been, technology is the cutting edge of communication. But as soon as the internet hit, and despite what anybody says, Al Gore didn't invent it. It was actually invented by DARPA, which was a government thing and a military thing.
It was invented for communications between research facilities, the universities,
and
the
then,
military.
And then the military caught on and said, "Hey, this has a lot of potential."
Correct.
And my company, the one that I work for, not my company, but the one I work for, that begins with an X.
Hard.
Company you wouldn't be here today, Jay.
It's an X on both ends, so you go figure it out. And but we didn't invent the internet, but the technology of how it works inside, we had a lot to do with that.
You developed the web part.
The Ethernet, the communications, the packet technology idea was Ethernet, and that's is how it works today. And on the other hand, what else did we invent? Oh yeah, the mouse, the GUI, and gave that all to Apple. But that's a whole different thing. So here's the internet comes along, and it's only been 30 years. That's very, very young for something like this. It's
revolutionized our entire existence.
You're exactly right. Now, does it need to be regulated?
Yes.
Probably. All right. But think about all of the other big things that have been the telephone company was eventually regulated and broken up, right?
Right. Yeah. And that was something I postulated to people on the internet. I had a lot of discussions with people, and they were thoughtful discussions. There's a couple of people call me names.
That's
because that's what they do.
Yeah.
And when they know their argument is a little weak, I don't call people names even when my argument is weak. I know when it's weak. Been there, done that, right? I know when my argument's weak. I know when I'm just cranking somebody up. Yeah. But I never call names on the internet. But it's surprising how people's view of things is, especially somebody that I really respect as a technology person doesn't quite get the publishing part of it. You know what I mean? The publishing or platform part. And they think that it's okay for what was done over the weekend, and it's not. And you're right, Jay. These companies are going to sue for their existence because, hey, we have the same terms of service as you. How come you guys conspired to shut us down? Oh, we're a competitor? Oh, that's business, and that's going to be settled in a court. So the question is it a platform? It's a platform. Twitter was a platform until they started making editorial decisions. Facebook was a platform until they started making editorial decisions. And now they're going to have to figure out whether they still fall under those Section 230 platform protections, or do you become a publisher and now you're responsible for the content? I mean, like I said to Jay, Bob, Facebook and Twitter have been using automated intelligence to scan all the tweets and posts and flag them. And if you think they're not going to come after you, they will, because it's an arbitrary process.
Yeah. Well, let me say that because you both have mentioned the courts and the Constitution, I really believe that indeed, as culture changes, laws have to be developed, regulations have to be developed that go along with those changes in our society. And if anything, this proves is that this needs to be decided in a court of law. Till then, we have the Constitution, and
but
until it's decided,
the Constitution does not apply to
here, right?
The Constitution does not apply to a corporation. But the two-wit is being
right.
The two-wit is being
right.
They're well within their right to do it now.
Yeah.
But the two-wit part of it is the legal part is, have they become a de facto harbinger of the old town square?
Yeah.
Have they become that town square? So if they've become that town square now by the rulings of the court in the past, have they become a government?
Yeah.
And that's where it's going to end up
And that question is
being,
probably yes.
I can't remember the History Channel show. There was a whole series about Carnegie and Rockefeller.
The Men Who Built America.
That was it. Yeah. And
The Men Who Built America. I love that show.
again,
Yeah,
a great show. But look what they built: the oil industry, the steel industry, the railroads, the banking,
Right.
and all of that.
Those are the Elon Musks and whoever the guy the CEO of Twitter and Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
And those are those guys. They're the new robber barons of the modern
Exactly
era.
right. And I believe you're right, and I believe that the government or the powers that be will step in and make some sort of regulation on these things moving forward. It's going to be a little bit of chaos. It's going to be a lot of arguments, but I think in the end we'll be better off for it. I mean,
we absolutely we're better off. And if
Yeah.
we look at history, you're right with the robber barons and everything, Carnegie and all of those things. The railroads finally had to be adjudicated eventually because it was affecting our society.
And Google's a monopoly. Facebook technically right now is a monopoly. And so is Twitter. They're monopolies. And they've tried to squash their competition.
Yeah.
And one of their competition, Pollard, they were effectively got rid of them for now. But that's going to come out, and they're going to get sued. And I have a feeling that the courts are going to decide the same way they did against the Bell system.
yeah. So just
I got a
like we
quote
had
for you, though.
just because we had baby bells, we're going to have baby twits.
I got a quote for you
Twitties.
from a old school conservative, H.L. Mencken. And I had to look up this quote because it's funny just as it is. He goes, "Democracy is the theory that common people know what they want and deserve to get it, good and hard."
Yeah.
I love that quote. I'm like, I don't care what party you belong to.
Yeah, that's going to hit.
But
that hits it right.
Perfect.
So
Well, we're going to get what you.
You're gonna get what you
asked
deserve.
too much.
Gonna get what I want, good and hard.
good and hard. It's a fascinating discussion, as I said right off the top, and I don't want to lose the whole morning on this. And
It is a huge topic, though.
It is,
really is.
and we can
the
talk more
biggest-
about it in the future. But what I didn't want to forget that, and thank you, Pete, for helping do this. Fred Gore came to me the other day, and most of us around town know Fred Gore is a great photographer in Greater Springfield, and he has been working with Cindy Gaylord. Is it the Westfield Historic Society or
Historical Commission.
Commission? Okay, I can never remember, but they have been putting together tours, they're calling tours of various historical sites around the city, and then putting them out on the city website. And the kids, this is how they're studying history of our local history, is by going out there. And he's got these things narrated by Adam Wright, and he's putting little snippets together, and he has this cool little toy. It's imagine a tripod with a camera at the top of it.
It's a 360 camera?
And it just scans the whole room. And it to me, it's still fascinating. It's probably a simple thing to a photographer.
No, you could buy those because I've seen those for a while now. I know that.
Yeah.
I remember when Wahlburgers was doing their show, they did a 360-degree tour of Wahlburgers and then Almanove, their mother's restaurant.
So it's all high definition. It's all extremely well done, and I go out to the website and look at that. I'm pretty sure it's accessible.
You go on to Westfield's website.
Yeah,
City of
Westfield.
No, Westfield
Got it.
Athenaeum.
Or it's the Athenaeum.
Westath.org, I believe.
Okay, thank you, Pete.
got it.
I believe it's on the Athenaeum.
Yeah, and Fred called me yesterday, said, "Hey, I need a little hand editing up something that Adam sent me." So brought it over here, and in no time, Pete had it edited up into little bits that needed, and then by the end of the day,
Hey,
Fred had it all
contact me.
upside.
I'll teach you how to do that.
Yeah.
We'll have a class.
Yeah, and I got to learn too. So I was just so impressed.
Jay, let's say Westfield Athenaeum is always difficult to find because people type in the wrong spelling for Athenaeum or put in
No, it's
Westfield Athenaeum.
they
Spell-
have it.
spell
they
it
have
library.
it shorted. It's Westath.
Yes, exactly right.
ATH.
WESTATH.org.
I go Westfield Library.
Yeah, and that comes to it.
Do you get the Westfield, New Jersey library?
Yeah, Westfield, Mass. Library.
You know the difference between an Athenaeum and a library?
No, I've always wondered.
Okay, I can tell you. Athenaeums have galleries and museums attached to them.
Okay.
So if you think of the Wadsworth Athenaeum, which is basically a big art gallery down in Hartford,
Yeah.
it is really a gallery that has a library.
Happens to have a lot
We
of
have
books.
A library with a gallery, the Rand Gallery, and the Edwin Smith Historical Museum upstairs.
And that's why
it's called an Athenaeum.
And that's what Fred just put up, and it's just amazing what's in there. And and I'm fascinated by clicking on all of these things. And one of the things that fascinates me is was the canal that came through the city.
Came right by my house over here.
Yeah, did it? Your house?
No.
Yeah.
No,
I
it was
used to-
downtown.
yeah. No, yeah,
It was downtown. You're not downtown. You're close
I
to
am.
downtown.
Yeah, you're not close enough, I don't think, to be near the canal.
No,
I
it
can
actually.
walk to the canal from my house. It's right behind the beginnings of it are right behind the Boys and Girls Club or whatever back there. You can walk down there and you can
find the swamp.
That might have been a branch to the canal, but the main
Yeah,
canal
it's a
came
branch.
up through
I
the
used
main.
to take my boat down there, and we used to go. I take my friends. We boat down to Hartford and have a beer, and then come back in the day.
Oh, good Lord.
Okay, yeah. The original canal actually started down in New Haven, Connecticut, and came up what is roughly now the rail trail.
The railroad, yeah. The railroad took a little bit more direct route. When it came out of Southwick, it came up near Little River Road, and that's why off of Little River Road you have Towpath Lane, because that was part of the
yes, that's
towpath.
exactly right.
And
then
it went behind the Westfield shops.
Yep, it did. Yeah. And then ended up in the parking lot of what is now the Stop and Shop downtown.
That was the lake.
That was a little a waiting area.
Yeah, lake.
That people would
A waiting
area.
WAD.
Now, what's up on when you go up the hill by the turnpike? You got Lockhouse Road up there.
Because there was a lock.
There was a set of locks that you had to go through. Well, you had to wait your turn to go through the locks, and you hung out down by what's now the Stop and Shop, what used to be H.B. Smith, and you wait for your turn to go up the
It
locks.
was a man-made lake.
And then it finally made its way up as far as Northampton. Northampton was the northern terminus of the canal.
And as I recall, it only lasted for a couple of years before the railroad replaced
Oh, it took them 60 years to build it, and it lasted about 6 years before the railroad made it defunct.
Yeah.
And it was a shame because it's a
We were
fascinating thing.
We were known as the port of Westfield. believe
Yeah.
it or not.
Yep.
And so people come here and say, how can you be a port? There's no water or whatever. But we were the port of Westfield because of that canal.
It was a cool thing. Well, listen, we blew
Yeah.
through our
Hey,
first
it's-
break.
Yeah, we should. Did you guys introduce the show?
No,
Yes.
no,
Well, okay.
no.
So let
Sort
me do
of.
it because it sounds like we're Consumer Reports or Computer Reports.
No, we're coffee talk.
Coffee talk.
No.
Between the computers and stuff. Hey, so wow, it is Tuesday and it is January 12th, 2021 and counting. And my name is Bob Plass. I'm with Westfield on Weekends. Go on westfieldonweekends.com on Facebook or wherever you find wherever we're not being wherever we're allowed to broadcast or wherever we're allowed to
Bob, you're still on, Bob. They love you, Bob. It's
I
just
love
the music that there's one song I think that was flagged. But it's amazing.
I'm wondering which song it was.
It's amazing now. Almost every song is flagged for Iran, Cuba. There was like 5 countries, and they're all dictatorships. North Korea. They
Wow.
won't allow. They won't. What they do is they claim copyright for the songs,
Yeah.
and they won't allow their own people to see anything.
Holy gosh.
Imagine that. That's
Wow.
how they get. That's how they stop YouTube.
Yeah.
That's censorship.
I think I had a song, a Spanish song there last week somewhere.
There was a couple songs that got flagged in those countries.
Yeah.
Nobody can see
Wow.
you in Iran, Bob. Sorry.
All right,
Does
so
this
look
bother you?
The guy that's talking is the man behind the keyboard, the kitten of the keys. That's Peter Coles and JPEG Luca, Trusty, Dusty, Lusty, Musty, Crusty, and well-modulated sidekick is to my left, and I am home, as you can see. I'll tell you all about that after we play. I'm playing these songs today for a reason, and I'll talk about that afterward, which is kind of really cool, Helpless This is our first song, and Helpless by, there, look it. For those of you who are watching, Jay now has that beautiful winter scene that I found on the internet. Oh, Peter, thank you. Look at how beautiful Jay looks. He looks like he's the ice queen there.
We can
The snow queen or something.
we can talk about what my favorite parts
So we're
of winter,
playing,
and that's one of them.
We're playing Helpless, Bob.
We're going to play Helpless, yeah.
Radio on WSKB provided by Westfield Electroplating. Employing over 140 skilled platers, painters, and technicians, Westfield Electroplating was founded in 1946 and was the first company in the country to achieve National Aerospace and Defense Contractor Program accreditation, proudly maintaining that status for over a decade. Westfield Electroplating provides over 50 quality finishes to meet your corrosion, cosmetic, or performance needs. On the web at www.westfieldplating.com or 413-568-3716. Westfield Electroplating, putting the finishing touches on technology.
This is Ken Stomsky from Ken's Den on WCPC 15 and 89.5 FM, Tuesdays, 8 to 10.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Wow, it is Tuesday morning. It is January 12th, 2021. And I'm in an interesting situation because actually when Dr. Kevin Coughlin, our dentist in residence, comes on at 7 o'clock, we'll be able to talk more on this. But I had a decision to make whether to come in or not, given the fact that I was without a mask in a closed room for about 15 minutes.
You said you had the question mark. So the rule of thumb by the health department is if you have a question, just stay home. And we have the technology to still make it work. But I found it very, very funny, Bob, and I'm going to call you out on this, is that as soon as you found out that Dr. Coughlin was coming in, you were like, well, maybe I can come in. I'm like, no.
No.
Whoa!
I can explain.
I can explain. Look, there he goes.
I can explain.
Sorry, Bob, we couldn't help it.
No, absolutely, because I was tossed yesterday about this, and I would go back and forth, and then after Dr. Coughlin said he would come in, he was coming in, then I started to think, God, that's the same situation that I was in. He's a dentist with working with people whose mouths they're not wearing masks in a room,
Right.
et cetera, et cetera.
I'm sure, Bob, it's fine.
Oh, yeah,
But,
no, let me
but you raised the issue, so.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But then while I was showering today, I was thinking about this because I was saying, Peter is probably right here, mainly because you ever been in that situation that, and I think I'm trying to act on my inner little voice that says something's wrong here, and so I go to the dermatologist. I'm in the office. My dermatologist is wearing a shield and a hazmat outfit. She is a lovely woman and whatever. But there was this moment that I was like I said to myself, she's standing 2 feet away from me talking, et cetera, et cetera. Now, smartly enough, I had my double mask on. I masked and then I double masked. But then, they're doing the search of my body for things, have you ever
Skin
been
cancers.
to a dermatologist?
Yeah, skin cancers. Yeah. They look for
little,
cancerous freckles
thing
and things like that. Yeah.
every spot. Jay, have you ever gone through this?
No, but it sounds interesting.
Jay.
Right
What?
To use a medical term, it's right up your alley.
Oh.
I really
Now I'm getting nervous.
So she's looking all over my body and everything, and then she comes, and of course my face is very prominent, Mr. Pumpkinhead. And so I said, should I take down my mask? So I take down my double mask, and then I leave it off like an idiot for the rest of the interview.
Now, Bob, I personally, I think you're probably fine. But
I think
If you have a concern, then if you're worried about it, you should stay home. And that's what I kind of tell everybody. It's like, be smart and don't go outside your comfort zone.
Yeah, we'll talk further on this with Dr. Kevin, because I realized that one of the things different between my dentist and the dermatologist is my dentist and Dr. Kevin's office. I'm sure he's talked about this. They have these filters in the room that are working, these giant filters. Well, this is an old office, and it smells of must and all that crap. Excuse that expression. But I just felt, and there's another woman in the room. Oh, Jay, you'd love this. There are 2 women in the room.
Why is it you're saying I would love this? What?
Well, I don't know. I have no idea, because
mostly I say that because Marianne might be listening.
Well, at any rate, when Dr. What's her name? Oh God. I call her Amanda. So when Amanda comes in, I always call my doctors by their first names. Sometimes, affectionately, I call them Doc, only to level the playing field. You know what I'm saying? So at any rate, Amanda came into the room, and there was another woman with her, and she's the assistant who writes down everything that she looks at, at my body. She's looking at that spot, and then she talks about it for about 5 minutes, and then goes on to another spot. It's humiliating. That's what.
I'm glad I wasn't there.
Yeah, you really, especially when we get down to the lower extremities. It's really kind of amazing.
And you were worried about losing your mask.
I was worried about losing a lot of other stuff as well.
What? Never mind. Let's move on. What was your next topic?
So, hey, I wanted to guess what? I'm loaded up with stuff. You won't believe what I got.
You constipated with talk, Bob?
That might be it. Okay, so look here. How do I do this?
What are you doing?
I got my earbuds. I got new earbuds.
He can't get them open.
Well,
you might actually be a little louder.
Yeah. Oh, there they are. Oh, there it is. It was right here on top. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So I Bluetooth them up and everything. And so then what do? Is this going to make a difference with my sound?
You might be a little bit louder on your voice. I've noticed people on Zoom are louder with their earbuds.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my son got Marion and I those nice little earbuds, the Bluetooth earbuds. They're really, really cool. And what I like about it is if I'm on the phone in the car or something like that, it can. Yeah. Oh, there it is. Now it's much louder. But if I'm on the phone, it hears me through those earbuds because your ear canals go down to your somewhere in the throat cavity or something, so you can.
Can you hear us better now, Bob? Too?
Yeah. No, not at all.
Oh. You do sound a little better.
I do sound better.
Yeah. Okay. Bring the volume down. Whoop! I hear a little bit of an echo.
How's that? Is that better?
Yeah, that's good. That's apt. So you're now with in-ear monitors. People pay a lot of money for in-ear monitors on stage, Bob.
Oh yeah, I know. And I was unsure as to how much money to pay, so I went the medium route.
You know what, Bob? I didn't get the earbuds. I got an over-the-ear headphones like I have here that are wireless.
Yeah.
And you know how much I paid for them?
$30.
Yep.
That's what I thought. Oh my God!
How much you pay for yours, Bob?
Never mind.
These were 60 or 70.
No, that's not bad.
And mine. I bought Sony ones because I wanted a halfway decent speaker.
Sure.
I resisted buying the Bluetooth earphones because I Apple iPod earbuds are a couple $100.
Mm-hmm.
And the ones I saw were like 80. And you know what happens to me is those damn earbuds fall out of my ears all the time.
Well, I was just going to say. Wait a minute. Here.
That's because you're not using the right glue.
That's why I like the over-the-ear ones.
All right, so answer this question: could I wear these in the studio instead of using a microphone and those?
If I bought a Bluetooth transmitter, yeah,
we'll work on that.
Oh, okay, all right. So guess what else I got? You won't believe this. Yesterday, my birthday present from James came in. Oh,
No, it's on the floor.
That's the problem.
Happy birthday, Bob.
That's the problem.
Christ. Oh, good. Holy God, help me.
Bob having
All right.
technical issues out there, ladies and gentlemen.
He's going
now.
deeper and deeper. Apparently, it fell on his chair because I can hear his chair creak.
Wait till it pops out and Frankie eats it.
Oh my God, help me. At any rate, so get this.
I think you've disconnected from the Bluetooth.
Frankie's the dog,
all
by
right.
the way.
Now, how's that? Better?
Yeah, you're back to the old sound quality.
What?
Am I back?
Well, yeah, we can still hear you. We can hear you fine, Bob. But
Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to talk amongst yourself. I'm going to go down.
yeah, the one that fell out is your microphone one. It's out. We're hearing you from the floor.
Oh, my God. We're here. Okay. So I'll tell you what, Pete.
Why don't we take a
Play-
break, Bob?
Yeah, let's play Harry Styles. This is Little Black Taxi. What is
Big
it?
Yellow
Joni
Taxi,
Mitchell's
Bob.
Great song.
Big Yellow Taxi.
Big Yellow Taxi. Play this. I'll go down and then look at the floor.
Oh,
Bye.
go put up a parking lot.
Paradise in the parking lot with a pink hotel, a boutique, and a swinging hot spot. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? Paved paradise, put up a parking lot. Took all the trees, put them in a tree museum. And they charged everybody $1.50 just to see them. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? Paved paradise, put up a parking lot. Hey, farmer, put away the DDT now. Give me spots on my apples, just leave me the birds and the bees. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone? Pay paradise, put up a parking lot. Pay paradise, put up a parking lot. Late last night, I heard my screen door slam, and a big yellow taxi took away my old man. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone? Pay paradise, put up a parking lot. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone? 2, 3, 4. Pay paradise, put up a parking lot. Pay paradise, put up a parking lot. Pay paradise, put up a parking lot. Hey! Thank you very much. Thank you.
Support for community radio on WSKB provided by Westfield Electroplating. Employing over 140 skilled platers, painters, and technicians, Westfield Electroplating was founded in 1946 and was the first company in the country to achieve National Aerospace and Defense Contractor Program accreditation, proudly maintaining that status for over a decade. Westfield Electroplating provides over 50 quality finishes to meet your corrosion, cosmetic, or performance needs. On the web at www.westfieldplating.com or 413-568-3716. Westfield Electroplating, putting the finishing touches on technology.
Listen to me, Michael Buster McMahon, Mondays 8 to 10 a.m. to learn the stories behind your favorite songs. Or don't. I'm not the boss of you.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 at 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
You gotta unmute, Bob. Bob, I have to mute you during the breaks because you're coming off the same thing as the music right now, so you gotta unmute.
Bob? Hello, Bob. Bob, are you there? How do you spell Bob? It's the same frontwards and backwards.
That's exactly right.
Bob, the other thing too is you could, if you need to go get a coffee or something, you can just leave your earbuds in, go get your coffee, and still talk to us. Because
look how excited he is now.
Because they're wireless.
But what if you go out of range?
Well, I think the kitchen's close enough that he would be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I just went out there and I could hear everything while I was getting my water or whatever. Now,
just don't go to the bathroom, Bob.
Let me explain what the other thing is that I've got, and then I want to explain why I'm playing this music. Look at this, guys. How do I turn it on?
Now what are you doing?
Oh, excuse me. I keep swearing today. I'm sorry.
What's
God.
that, Bob?
Oh, I have. James gave me a Fitbit watch.
Oh no!
Oh God! Make sure you take it with you.
What does that mean?
That
it's
checks
my heart rate.
That checks your pulse.
What does that mean?
It checks your pulse and your heart rate. You got to put it on, Bob.
And then you got to set yourself.
It scans for your heart rate
and how many steps you're going to do every day, and then
but
it's
that might also be a
that.
better question for Dr. Coughlin when he comes in.
Yeah. So
I think he's outside, just sitting out there.
We're gonna turn. He's listening to us, and he's going, "No, I'm not going in there." So
yeah, the lights will depart in a minute.
So now I'm going to be able to tell everything about me every hour of the day and night.
Actually,
I guess I'm going to be obsessed by this thing once I figure out how to use the damn thing. James says to me, Bob, for the first time in your life, you got to read the directions. So I have the directions. So I read them from cover to cover. And then I put them down and I totally forgot them. So there goes that damn thing again.
This is comedy like we've never seen.
I swear to God,
before.
I'm going to buy Bob a pair of headphones that are Bluetooth instead of earbuds.
Bob, you're not.
I think there we are.
You're not using the right kind of glue, Bob.
Maybe I should I'll put that. Maybe this ear is a better ear for this one.
Remember the tape I was using to try and keep that microphone on you for the show? Duct tape.
Oh my God, yes! When we were doing that Canoe the musical, yeah. See, I think I have trouble with anything on my face. There we are. How's that?
That's fine, Bob.
Speak.
No, just
You're fine.
If you wrap duct tape all the way around your head, you'll be fine.
Okay. All right. See, this is technology at its worst. At any rate, hey, what did I want to tell you? So I've got the Zoom. I've got the Fitbit. Now I've got this. I've got the tablet. I've got the smartphone. We have a smart television.
Bob's turning into Ken Stomsky.
All this technology, and I can't figure out how to turn it on.
Oh, geez. I'm telling you, this is going to be a laugh a minute. Is there any other technology that I'm missing? Maybe a humidifier and an air fryer.
You know what
Maybe
I bought, Bob?
What?
I bought at the beginning of this pandemic, I bought a pulse oximeter.
A what?
So you know the thing they put over your finger to it shows you your pulse and it shows the oxygen level in your blood.
Yeah. Yeah.
At the beginning of the pandemic, I spent some of my flexible spending health money.
Yeah.
And I bought a remote pulse oximeter for like, I don't know, $80 or something. And you slide over your finger, it hooks up with an app on your phone, and it tells you the amount of oxygen in your blood, your pulse, and the pulse, it's a PI, and I have yet to look that one up. But you can track it on your phone and see how you do over time, so that if you think you've had COVID or something like that, or you might have that, you can track and see if you should go to the hospital. If you go below a certain percentage in your pulse ox, you really need to go to the hospital like right away. I think it's like 92% or something. But I track I throw it over my finger every day or every other day and track where I'm at and see how I'm doing. So yeah, it's a nice little device you can buy.
Should I get an air fryer as well?
I'm thinking about it because I got the Chinese fryer that I bought doesn't have enough nuts and bolts for the feet, so I got to figure that one out.
Did you get one of those flush toilets yet?
Bidet? Yeah, where's Bob's bidet?
I have a corner toilet.
That's right. Yeah, he's got the two.
I have two corner toilets. For you guys out there that don't know what a corner toilet is, Jay, would you explain what the corner toilet is for everyone, please?
Well, it's a toilet, but it's in the corner.
It is shaped so that it fits into a corner, so you can in your bathrooms, you can have more room. And
So-
it
so-
costs about the exact same amount of money that a
So
regular
what I'm
toilet
worried
costs.
about now is what does that do to the shape of your butt when you sit on it?
You look like a slice of pizza. That's what.
That's where I was afraid you were going.
Yeah, I could just see my dermatologist now with her little eye thing. Look at it. It looks like that's a pepperoni.
We've come full circle, Pete. Now, never mind.
Oh my God!
God help
All right,
us all.
so let me explain to you why I'm playing this music, and I hope I can pull this up. So I remember everybody that my college roommate passed away in September of last year, and his widow and I have become really great phone friends, and we still we were always friends, but I just make a point of calling her, and we get it, and she does as well. We talk to one another often, mainly for company on both ends of the spectrum, and I enjoy talking to Deb. So at any rate, she was saying that she was sending out Christmas cards, and I said to myself, wow, she's been a widow and just recently, what kind of Christmas card does one send out without, it's a difficult situation. So we got our Christmas card this week, and I was so darn moved by the thing because it just said it wasn't maudlin, it was just perfect. And it had all these pictures of the family, and Chip was a big sailor. He had like a catamaran or one of those things. I don't know what you call it. Is it catamaran?
Is it two hulls?
No, wait a minute. Yeah, it had two hulls, I think. Yeah,
And it looks like a big H.
it was like 20 feet long or something. It was a big boat.
Yeah, if it looks like a big H, it's probably a catamaran. It has two hulls on the outside, and the cabin's in the middle, on the inside.
I think that's it. Jeb will
That would
probably
be- that would be-
should be listening.
That'd be a catamaran, yes.
Yeah. So he loved to sail, and so at any rate, the card had pictures of the family, and then it had a picture of the two Irish setters looking out a window, and then another picture of Chip looking out a window, my roommate looking out a window, and then it had this beautiful picture of Chip gazing out at a sailboat, and it was great. But what I loved about it, and I gotta see if I can find it here.
Hey, Doc, you can go in the studio and you can sit in the end chair where Bob usually sits.
Go there?
Oh yeah, Jay is.
Well,
Gonna,
it's easier for me on the camera shots because I can only put one camera up on the Zoom, so it's easier if he comes in.
All right, so wait a minute. I'm gonna go to my Shutterfly thing here. Let's hope this doesn't screw things up. Wait a minute. I want to pull up what she wrote because it was so appropriate. I mean, just picture that situation that you were trying to find a way to say, "Hey, Merry Christmas, everybody. It's been a rough year. My husband died. My husband passed away. I'm doing well, but without making it maudlin,
Yep.
So she wrote this wonderful thing, and I want to pull it up here. Okay, wait a minute. Let's see. There we go. Okay, now, all right. This is what she wrote. She said, Joni Mitchell sang in Big Yellow Taxi, "Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? Sometimes we do, though. We just feel the way Neil Young put it in Helpless. And in my mind, I still need a place to go. All my changes were there. 2020 has been a tumultuous and a sad and a hard slog, more for some than others. We've all been touched in some way by stressful relentlessness, COVID, politics, natural disasters. Peace of mind has become a precious commodity. So this Christmas, I wish you the simple blessings of quietude and reflection, the sweet serenity of floating on a calm sea with gentle breezes and a warm sun. I'm wishing you peace and love and laughter and joy, and of course, good and enduring health. I'm wishing you all those intangible but wonderful things that make life worth living and remembering and celebrating. I'm wishing 2021 is the year that we reconnect across tangible and intangible bridges that join us instead of separate. And may God bless our beasts and watch over our children. Love, Deb O'Shea, Chip in spirit, and the two dogs, Shay and Grania. Isn't that just gorgeous?
Yes,
I
actually
mean,
it is.
I mean, like when you think about it, for me, it really says everything. And then on the back page of this, she then said she had a picture of she and her husband dancing, and then Chip looking at a sailboat, and she said, "I look at life from both sides now." And she quoted Christopher Cross in the song "Sailing." And she quoted Brian Wilson in the Beach Boys song. And I thought Christopher Cross's song was just so great.
I love Christopher Cross, Bob.
Yeah.
Ride Like the Wind is a song that you think would not be applicable, but a lot of auto racers, I've been to more than one funeral for auto racers, and that's a song that seems to be used a lot for that type of event.
For COVID times. Well,
No, for auto racers, Bob. People that drive cars. Racing.
Oh, really?
They use Ride Like the Wind, yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's what he said in the song Sailing, which I'll play. Well, it's not far down from paradise. At least it's not for me. And if the wind is right, you can sail away and find tranquility. Well, it's not far back to sanity. At least it's not for me. And if the wind is right, you can sail away and find serenity. I just thought, this whole card is about COVID in a way. It's about the losses that we faced. And I called her and I said, you got to start writing. And I'm going to play the songs that you have on this card during my program. So why don't we play one and then, hey, Dr.
Wait a minute,
Coughlin,
I have a theme music for Dr. Coughlin now.
Oh, you do?
Ready here.
Great. What do you got? Doctor.
Turn it up.
What is this? The shadow of your
Patience now.
This is a theme to some radio or TV show.
Jay, do you know what it is?
No, it doesn't sound familiar.
It was a show starring Jack Klugman.
Jack? That wasn't The Odd Couple.
No. What was the other show he was known for?
The Odd Couple, and it was a detective story.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah, it's something in the
MD.
80s. Quincy, oh, okay.
Quincy MD. Was he a dentist?
He wasn't a dentist.
No, he wasn't a dentist.
It's DMD.
A DMD, yeah.
We have it.
Yeah.
I do remember that show.
Good morning, Doc.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me this morning.
Hey, Doc.
Yeah, what's up?
Well, I just wanted, first, let me just finish that little thought that I had about Deb. Isn't that a great card to send to receive at Christmas time that she sent?
To receive
lovely,
anytime. But specifically at Christmas, very nice. It's very touching.
Yeah. I thought, and so Deb O'Shea, you get all our props in the world for those great, and I'll play some of those other songs a little later in the program. But so Dr. Kevin Coughlin from Ascent Dental Solutions, you are here, you are alive, you are well.
No, he's here. You're there.
Yes, I'm very fortunate. I am alive. I am well. So is my family. And I had my first COVID vaccine about a week ago.
Wow.
No adverse effects. And that went well. And Channel 22 interviewed me last week asking me what's taking the dental community so long to get dentists vaccinated. So hopefully that'll air sometime next week, is my understanding.
It's a good question. I wasn't aware there was a delay. You're not considered...
There's a delay nationwide, I think.
Just on dentists?
No, the entire country.
Well, yeah.
But specifically, the interview was, why aren't dentists getting vaccinated? What is the reason? And the second reason is, can dentists provide vaccination? So you have two real issues going on. it appears, at least at this early stage, there's enough vaccine around, but you have quite a bit of the public and healthcare professionals electing for a variety of reasons not
Not
to
to
vaccinate.
take it, yeah.
So
I'm getting mine on Thursday, so
Yes. So
'cause
the
I'm public safety.
staging and the theories of going to, let's just say, nursing homes, facilities, and healthcare workers in the line of duty, the concept makes sense, but are people actually doing it? And when I did my research for that interview, it appears that generally, nationally, at best, you're getting 75 to 80% of healthcare professionals electing to take the vaccine.
Well, that makes sense. But don't you have to be, I don't know if licensed is the term, but you've got to have certain training to give someone the vaccine.
For dentists, right now they're looking at the National Guard, they're looking at pharmacy techs, they're looking at dentists and other healthcare providers.
Where did you get yours, Doc?
I got mine at Bay State Medical Center. So
I
I
see.
actually received my vaccine not because I was a dentist, but because I'm on staff at Bay State. And being a staff member, the opportunity allowed me to get it.
You knew somebody.
I knew someone. But
Yeah.
don't tell anybody, even though we're on radio. So anybody who was on staff at Bay State, which I have to say, giving them a plug, incredibly organized, very efficient. It was done in Holyoke on Whitney Avenue. My appointment was a Sunday at 4 p.m. And after the injection, I was asked to sit for approximately 15 minutes to make sure there was no adverse effects, and then I was discharged. The hygiene was excellent. The organization was excellent. Their team was upbeat. And fortunately for me, I had very little adverse effects, except my arm was a little sore for about 48 hours.
that's what some people are
That's- yeah.
saying. There's the possible side effects are soreness at the injection site. And you might get a low-grade fever because it's triggering an immune response in your body. And when your body triggers the immune system, you warm up a little bit.
Yeah, it's the body's defense to kill bacteria and virus. Obviously, when you heat something up, there's a greater likelihood that you'll kill it. So when a person gets a fever, it's the body's way to protect itself. However, if that fever isn't controlled, it can turn very
It can hurt the body, yeah.
So the
Yeah.
condition is two. One,
Right.
do we have enough providers to provide the vaccine? And in several states, dentists have had the privilege and the opportunity to provide vaccines. California is voting this week. There's roughly 36,000 dentists in the state. And the idea is the more people giving the vaccine, the quicker
It's gonna
can
get out.
Get that
Wow.
herd immunity.
That was the biggest thing that we had years ago. We did a tabletop, I think, when the swine flu came out.
Yes,
With the health-
1976, I believe, is when that first started.
Well, this was in the 90s. They had a reoccurrence of it somewhere, and the tabletop was, okay, how do we do a mass distribution site for a vaccine? And they were talking about accommodating schools and having refrigerated trucks and all kinds of stuff. And it was kind of planned out. We have done exercises for this for years, and now it has to come to fruition. And it seems like the state governments and the federal governments have forgot that all the local governments have been planning for this for decades.
Yeah, the second part of the equation is you can have as many people authorized to provide the vaccine, but you have to have the public willing to accept the vaccine. And right now, it appears that rollout is people genuinely or non-genuinely have somewhat fears and issues about being vaccinated. But I think, like anything, as you see those numbers move up, it'll become easier and easier for people to make that decision.
Very,
You
very,
know,
very true.
That's my opinion.
Now, as far as where do you get it? Is it? Yeah, I mean, I've been getting my flu shot at the local drugstore on the corner for years. Doesn't it make sense to have them be the outlet for the Joe Normal person?
Again, I don't want to speak for the entire dental community, but my understanding is the concept is give the vaccine to the people that would be most likely to catch it and spread COVID, and that was hospitals and nursing homes. So as they rolled that out, to the hospitals and nursing homes, the problem at least seems in the first 4 to 6 weeks, people are not signing up to get it. So at the end of December, we were supposed to have 20 million people vaccinated.
Yeah,
we
I
had
remember that.
roughly,
Half
let's say,
that, yeah.
not even half.
Yeah.
I think it was
Not
like
even,
2.8 million.
Oh,
So
wow.
the question comes in is, you don't seem to need more people administering the vaccine. You need more people accepting
That want it. Yeah.
And I believe that the current strategy is, are we going to just open up the vaccine to actually anyone who wants it? In other words, you don't have to be a certain age, you don't have to work in a certain profession, you just have to be willing to say, I'm going to accept it, and instead of having these vaccines get deteriorated for not being used, just say, look, anybody who wants it, we're willing to give it.
Do they have a shelf life? I know they got to be kept cold.
They do have to be kept cold, and they do have a shelf life.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
the key is for the dental community, each state is different. Oregon has been allowing dentists to do all kinds of vaccines, not just simply a COVID, for a number of years. Arkansas has been doing it. Illinois has been doing it. There's about 6 states.
Hey, Doc, would the giving of the vaccine for you be a hardship as a dental provider, or would it? Or what would you have to do in order to be able to do that with your?
Every
practice?
state is a little different, but they all seem to be between 4 hours and 10 hours of online training. Every dentist, it gives injections on a routine basis.
Right.
But in most
And
cases,
very good. I mean, incidentally.
Yes.
You know, when you think of all those Novocaine shots that you
Right.
receive.
It's very few healthcare professionals that give more injections than a dentist. We're doing it constantly, day in and day out. However, extraorally, in the arm, in the hip, the buttocks area, most dentists aren't familiar doing that because it's not something we routinely do in our practice. But it's between 4 and 10 hour online course to get certified. Each
Right.
state has a little different spin. And then once you're certified, I have a license in the state of Connecticut. They sent out an email asking if I would volunteer. And for me, I said, yes, I would volunteer. Whether there's going to be compensation for this or not, each dentist has their own wants and needs. But for me, if you needed providers to do it, I would be willing to step up to the plate and do it. But right now, I think the issue is convincing the public so that they're comfortable enough to move forward to get the vaccine. It doesn't look like we have a problem with the number of providers. It's just getting people to say, I'm going to sign up, I'm going to do it. For the influenza virus, I believe the statistics I found is only about 75 to 80% of healthcare providers get the influenza vaccine. 25% don't, for who knows what reason. Okay, I mean, the reasons are enormous. Some could be safety concerns, some could be adverse reactions, allergies. The list goes on and on. But when I did my research, it seemed to start back in 1955 when they gave the polio virus. And when that polio virus came out, roughly 280 people in the United States actually got polio. And that put a little bit of fear in the public, like I'm trying to protect it. And it was a manufacturing issue. That issue obviously was corrected. And then in 1976, the H1N1 or swine flu, when that virus rolled out, a small percentage of people developed what they call the Guillain-Barré disease.
Oh, I
which is
remember
a
this, sure.
And that also. And then from my own opinion, 1988, the English physician came out with a study and associated measles, rubella, and mumps, that combination of 3 vaccines, with autism. And unfortunately,
yes.
that went viral all over the world. And after some research and study, that physician admitted that he had falsified the documents and the evidence. It was basically done on 12 individuals. And since that time, there's been over 15 million vaccines and there's been no association, over 25 additional studies of that association. But that travels through the internet and the community and puts fear in people. And again, who do you believe? Who do you trust?
Well, in this day of
so
what's true and what's not true,
right,
it's a really difficult thing. And even for a professional to have to make that decision for themselves and you're making a decision for not only for yourself, but for your family and your friends in a sense, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I think those 4 or 5 issues just was part of the tip of the iceberg. My hope, again, in my opinion, and it's only my opinion, as more people get vaccinated, like myself and other healthcare professionals, the people around me are going to say, well, if it's okay for them, I guess it's okay for me. And you're going to slowly but surely see us reach that 75, 80%. And that's just hyperbole on my part. That's just my gut.
No, I think you're exactly right. It's people once they're comfortable with it, and that's the same thing with coming out to and I'm looking at it from a concert perspective. People aren't going to come out to the concerts until they're comfortable hanging around with 1,000 of their closest friends. Same thing with the vaccine. When they see that 1,000 of their closest friends get it, and they're all still standing, and they want to go to the beach. Well, all right, let me get one of those so I can go to the beach.
Yeah, and
I
think
it's sort of like wearing a seatbelt in a sense, isn't it?
Yes.
When do you start to do that kind of thing?
When the cop
when
pulls me over and says, "Wear the seatbelt."
There's that tipping point, and once that tipping point is reached, and I think you see that with most things. You've even seen it with the mask wearing. It took that period of time where people just said no, and now you see, I won't say it's completely 100% accepted, but when you go outside, you look around, most people are wearing some kind of protective covering. It just takes time.
You used to be able to go into stores with no shoes and no shirts, right? Think about that.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's just, that's what we socially have come to expect.
And you're seeing electric cars. When they first came out, this is ridiculous. And now I can't go anywhere where I don't see at least a couple of electric cars out there. And it's just that getting over the hump.
It's changing our culture.
Yes.
And culture, it takes a while to change if you really think about it. I mean, that's what we have to do with our culture right now in America. Is come back to decency and begin to trust one another. And that's changing that culture is the hard part. Hey, why don't we take a break? Why don't we, Jay, Peter, would you mind playing that wonderful Christopher Cross song that we were quoting earlier, Sailing? It would be great to hear that. All right, and we'll come back. And Doctor, I got a question for you.
I have an answer. Yes.
Oh, you do? Oh,
yes.
Good.
It's not
It's
right,
about
but I
my
have an answer.
dermatology.
Okay.
It's about my dermatology. I want you to take a look at a spot right here. You
I'll
got
do
your
the
little
exam during the break.
All right, good. I'll bend over.
No.
The wave started. Let's go with that. It's not far down to paradise. At least it's not for me. If the wind is right, you sail away. Find tranquility. Oh, the canvas can do miracles. Just you wait and see. Lead me. It's not far to Never Land. Reason to pretend. If the wind is right, you can find the joy of innocence again. Oh, the canvas can do miracles. Just you wait and is a symphony. Don't you believe me? Well, it's not far down to paradise. At least it's not for me. And if the wind is right, you can sail away and find tranquility. Oh, the canvas can do miracles. Just you wait and see. Believe me. It's not far to Never Never Land. Reason to pretend. And if the wind is right, you can find the joy of innocence again. Oh, the canvas can do miracles. Just you wait and see. Believe me. Sailing takes me away to where I've always stood it. Just a dream of the wind that carries me. Soon I will be free. Fantasy, it gets the best of me when I'm sailing. All caught up in the reverie. Every word is a symphony. Won't you believe me? Sailing takes me away to where I've always stood it. Just a dream of the wind to carry me. Soon I will be free.
All righty, folks. Hey, you decided to play the long version of that, Peter Coles.
Yeah, because you only gave me half a song.
No, I didn't. No, if you
It ended.
really
It
went-
ended in the middle of a word, Bob. That's half of a song.
Well, to the YouTube thing that I sent, I thought was a live performance that was 3 minutes and 3 seconds. So
only gave
at
two-
any rate, I do love this song, and I'm glad you.
I absolutely
went on.
love Christopher Cross. If you play a Christopher Cross tune, I will by default play the entire song.
I'll remember that. Most of his songs are like 6 minutes long or so.
No, they're only about 4 minutes long.
4
Pete,
minutes. Okay.
Pete, I don't know if you realize this, but the audience lost 2 or 3 minutes of valuable information about dental health.
Bob goes long every day anyway.
I'm sure
so.
people are panicking all over the place right now.
Oh man. Oh God. They just want to hear your take on my experience at the dermatologist. When
We
that's why
already
I'm
heard
sitting
this.
here.
Do we really want to go through this again?
No, I'm not going to. I'm just going to say that I was in the room. I took my mask off because they were searching for my the spots on my face.
That's not all you took
I
off,
forgot.
Bob.
I did. I took everything off, to tell you the truth. He's still hung up on the fact that I have a female dermatologist. Gino is fixating. No, I'm not. At any rate, so I began to feel really unsafe because I forgot to put my mask on, and she didn't tell me to not put my mask on, and there was no humidifier or anything in the room, and it was an older, musty office, and there was another woman in the office, her assistant, who takes down every word of hers with a mask on, and I started to think, what's the difference when I go to the dentist? And the difference is that they have a humidifier or some kind of big machine in the room that's churning the air or whatever. Can you comment on that? Because I think that, and especially since many of the clients that go to this dermatology office, it's a great office, are older, and I bet they leave thinking, oh my God, I was in that room without wearing a mask.
Oh yeah, I
Doctor.
think all healthcare providers, you have to look at it from both sides of the equation. The patient has a risk of receiving something from the physician or the team members, and those team members and physicians have a risk of receiving something from the patients. And how do you minimize that risk? Depending on the office philosophy, you're using ultraviolet lights, you're putting in filtration systems, and you're using the PPE protection, whether
Right.
that's specific masks, face shields, outer garment. And all you can do is minimize the risk. I think most dentists and most physicians are probably taking your temperature before you enter. They're
Right.
screening you with questions. Were you
Right.
out of the state? Do you have a fever? Do you have any signs or symptoms? My understanding is so long as you don't have signs or symptoms and you're using the protective outerwear, you're free to treat patients. So providing you have no signs or symptoms, and those signs and symptoms are respiratory distress, fever, cough,
Right.
malaise, just a feeling of just being a little overtired. You shouldn't
But
probably
if I
practice.
had to take my mask off in order to have the search of my face, if we want to call it that, the quest for spots, wouldn't everybody else that came into that office be in there with their mask off for a good 5-10 minutes?
Oh yes,
And
absolutely.
wouldn't that make the risk higher?
Yes, and that's why you have these filtration systems.
Yeah.
You could argue some are better than others. Some systems are more effective. My understanding is the vaccine, excuse me, not the vaccine, but the COVID-19, the SARS-CoV-2 disease, has a high molecular weight. So generally, the aerosols will fall to the floor. They tend not to stay in an aerosol situation and present in the air. But to
Right.
minimize that, whether you're using a 60% alcohol disinfectant, sterilizing the air with ultraviolet light, so as the air gets filtrated through the system, it's being exposed to ultraviolet light, killing the virus, along with bacteria and other viruses.
I get you.
But
I
there's a cost to doing that, and there's also a time to actually get these things installed. Like anything, there's a run on these products, and it's difficult to get. I have a company that comes into the office in the evening and sprays the entire office, the ceiling, the walls, the countertops, everything that you can imagine. Is it perfect? No, but it's just another step to ensure the public that we're doing everything we can to assure their safety.
Sure.
And
Sure.
that's all you can do.
And would you recommend somebody, after you go to a situation like that, going to a doctor and or a dentist, to maybe stay out for out of commission for a couple of days just to be sure?
I think that's up to the individual. I guess, can there be any harm to that? I look at it and say, if it's not going to hurt your employer, if it's not going to hurt your team members, obviously, when someone doesn't show up to work in our office, someone else has to work longer, harder, faster.
Yeah.
The public could be jeopardized in service and care. If you don't have a good team, then you can't offer a great service. The other thing I think that's important for people to consider is when you're changing from, as you mentioned, the dermatology, usually you're going to allow between 6 and 10 minutes to disinfect, break down that room, to clean, sterilize, and disinfect before the next client is brought in. Can I say that's always done in every office? Absolutely not. But if you were to follow the protocol to reduce those chances of the patient that comes in after you getting potentially something that you might have provided because you weren't wearing a mask because they're doing an exam. So as a dentist, you got to take the mask off for us to provide your oral health and care. So is it possible that something could transpire? And the only way to minimize that is when you leave, that room has to be thoroughly broken down, just like an operating room. Everything is disinfected. Everything that's disposable is removed. The office is sterilized and disinfected, and then the next client is brought in.
Gotcha. Well, I think that we all make our decisions, and I guess that the idea is making yourself as comfortable as possible and as anxiety free as possible, whether it's through medication, drink, or
a
talking
combination
to a
of everything.
professional.
Yes.
Right, that's exactly right. Here, I'll drink my water to that. Hey, Doc, any bright news on the dentist front about something other than COVID? Anything happening? Any new techniques or anything that you could report?
New techniques. Well, I know a couple of months ago we spoke about PRP, which stands for plasma-rich protein. Basically, what this is taking a patient's blood, drawing it up like a phlebotomist would, and spinning that blood down roughly 27 to 3,000 RPMs, and taking out the layers that provide the most healing, the most platelet-rich material of that blood that's been spun down, and using it to reduce the chances of infection, improve the healing capacity. Many people aren't aware of it, but in many cases, a dentist is doing bone grafts, tissue grafts to replace periodontal disease when people have bone loss. We're grafting bone to hold on to your teeth. We're grafting soft tissue. And all of these processes have a normal healing process. But if you can inundate those materials and processes with this plasma-rich platelets, you decrease the chance of failure, you increase the chance of healing, and you ultimately can provide an optimized solution, a better end result.
Are you doing this technique
yes.
yourself? You are.
Yes. Is the technique really new? Actually, no. The plasma-rich platelets have been around. The techniques have improved. The equipment is improved, and our ability to provide it on a more routine basis has improved.
But your choice to provide. When do you choose to do this? I don't think I've ever seen that in my dental history.
It's
dental history.
It's like so many things in every business. You have to have a physician or dentist that, first of all, believes in the technology. Then you have to have that individual get the training. Then you have to invest in the equipment and time. And then ultimately, I think most healthcare professionals at some point have to make a business decision. And that business decision is, although this seems extremely successful, is that client willing to pay for it? There's that. In other words, when you go to a dentist and you've been going to the dentist for the last 60 years, if he or she said to you, I'm going to draw blood to help your extraction site heal or your implant heal, you'd be saying, what are you talking about? So now there's a consultation to educate you in the pluses and minuses. And then, as in any capitalistic society, is that insurance company going to pay for this technology? And sometimes the answer is yes, and sometimes the answer is no. there isn't a healthcare provider out there that's not providing treatment today, and Mrs. Smith comes in and they reimburse that physician or dentist X amount of dollars. Then Mr. and Mrs. Jones comes in and the compensation is entirely different. There's no rhyme or reason for it. So let's just say the compensation is $25. Well, if it's going to cost me $35 to provide the service, you're not going to see that really emanate in the healthcare profession because you can't do it at a loss. So it's like anything else, there's that time factor where the healthcare professionals have to feel comfortable, and then they have to feel that there's a financial means to it. You certainly can't provide that care at a loss, certainly not for any length of time. So there's a combination of factors. The other thing with technologies, in my opinion anyways, after 2 years, the CAD-camming of dental implants, in my opinion, has just been extraordinary. For a man like me who's been doing dental implants since the early 80s, what we're doing today is like night and day. It's tremendous advantage to the public. The post-operative discomfort is very minimal. The speed of treatment is increased, and the success is dramatically improved. And basically what it is the ability to provide flapless surgery. There's virtually almost no bleeding, and there's virtually very little post-operative discomfort because there's minimal surgery.
Yeah, Doc, I had that. I had a couple of implants, and I had that fear going in. I thought, oh my God, they're going to plant a tooth in my mouth. So terrible, so fearful was I. It was like a breeze. I'd say, give me a whole new set. Go ahead, plan away.
Thank you for that. I'm sure the dental profession appreciates it, but the key is there are significant improvements in dental care, and those improvements are occurring rapidly. I think within the next 10 to 15 years, we'll probably laugh at the way we're doing implants today, and I just can't imagine. I hope I'm around to enjoy it and to provide those services.
Well, I hope you are too. I hope I'm around so that you can do some planting Farmer Brown in my mouth.
I'm looking forward to it.
You are a dental farmer.
Yes.
Isn't that a way to look at it? Isn't this dental farming in a way?
It is. It is. We're planting the seeds day in and day out.
Bob, it's scary, the analogies you use.
Hey, if Peter Coles is there, why don't we play Sail on Sailor by, I don't know this song from the Beach Boys. Do you know this song from Brian Wilson?
Yes.
You guys?
Yes.
You know
I do not.
Sail on Sailor?
No,
you'll recognize it as soon as you hear it.
Okay.
Really? God, I got
All right, let's play it
Let's
then.
hear this. Sail on Sailor.
I sailed an ocean, unsailed an ocean, through restful water and deep commotion, often frightened, unenlightened. Sail on, sailor. I rest the waters, fight Neptune's water, sail through the sorrow of life's marauders, unrepenting, often empty. Sail on, sailor. Caught like the Superman, alone but I sail. Born like a crust of bread, to our way. Seldom stumble, never crumble, life's a tumble, life's a rumble. Feel the stinging, I've been given, never ending, unrelenting. Heartbreak searing, always fearing, never clearing, perseverance. Thank you.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donuts shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield. Underwriting for Community Radio on WSKB is brought to you in part by Rockies. Over 30 convenient locations throughout Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Florida. One of the nation's largest Ace dealers. Expertise and great product selection in paint, hardware, lawn and garden. That's Rockies. Rock solid service since 1926. On the web at rockies.com.
This is Ken Stomsky from Ken's Den on WCPC 15 and 89.5 FM, Tuesdays, 8 to 10.
Community Radio 89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
You make a good point.
Hey, Jay, we're back, and Bob dropped out, so you got to carry the show now.
Hi there. I'm Jay Pagluka. That's Bob Plass. He's dropped out.
He went to a different room. Bob doesn't get the concept of that if you have stable Wi-Fi somewhere, you need to kind of stay there.
Yeah, because
he was moving about his house and he dropped out again.
Right, because if you move, you're part of the antenna. So if you move, you see...
Your signal's going to drop.
Yeah, that's right. You've got to have your left arm up in the air.
So now it's the Dr. Kev.
That's scary.
Now it's the Dr. Kevin Coughlin show.
Yes.
Thank you all. It's a pleasure to be here, and we're looking forward to Ken's Den. He's coming up shortly, and he's informed me that after I said hi, he is not high. So that's a pleasure for our audience. Should be a good show. All right? Ken, you're with us,
Not
right?
necessarily.
Not necessarily, huh? Well, it's got to be a little more interesting than oral health, correct?
Well,
I don't know. There's a lot of questions right now. People, how do you raise the confidence level of the general public that going to a doctor's or a dentist's office is safe?
Yeah, I'm going to take my mask off, and you're going to be going, hey, say
Well, I would say for those individuals that have that concern, they should probably feel that way about everything. When you go to the grocery store,
Yeah,
when you
you're
go to
right.
pump gas, when you go to the drive-through for a Dunkin' Donuts. So I think there's going to be always that group that refrain. I was doing, again, some research for a TV infomercial, let's say, on this COVID. And over your lifetime in the United States, there's about a 1 in 600 chance that you will be in a motor vehicle fatality over the course of your life. So if you're an average of 75 years, there's a chance of 1 in 600. To have a death from a vaccine, it's 0.00001%.
Take the vaccine.
So, I mean, I don't think there's anything out there that's going to totally eliminate risk, but I think sometimes you have to keep things into perspective, and you have to use what I would say is common sense.
And what's the chance of getting the virus is certainly higher than that. Go out, get the vaccine. Let's all get safer quicker. Maybe that's the simplest way. Let's get safer quicker.
Right. And I think, as we talked earlier in the show, there's that momentum. What that number is, I'm not sure, but I'm sure there's statisticians out there that can say once we reach this particular number, generally most of the public will follow and say we're okay. If you look at other diseases like measles, in the United States in 2018, 378 people in the United States died of measles. Again, because of fear of vaccine, people stopped taking that, and that jumped from 378 to roughly 1,300 people died of measles in the United States. You're looking at an injection or a vaccine that costs less than $1. You can see this with influenza. In 2019, 36 million people in the United States came down with the influenza virus. And out of that 36 million, 36,000 people died. Okay. Now, the influenza vaccine is only about 50% effective. The COVID vaccine is right around 95 to 97% effective. And we only had 20 million people in the United States affected with COVID. And the death rate right now is a little over 360,000. So you can see the effect that the vaccine can have in a positive manner if you can cajole and guide people to consider it. But we're in a free country, and so long as we want to stay a free country, my personal belief is you're going to find it tough to force people to do anything, regardless of public health and the good that it can provide. Ultimately, it's a free country, and people will make their decisions based on their needs.
Well,
Do you think that part of that comes from people are so frustrated with the government actions in response to all this, all the lockdowns and everything else? Is that
I think
this is
it's
where they're just generally
frustration, but I think it's a
pissed off?
general trust. I
Yeah.
think anybody who's in authority, there's an immediate doubt. Without talking politics, but on Showtime, there's this show called Outcry, and it's
What's the name of the show, Doc?
Outcry, Outcry, and it's in Texas, and it's about a young man who's been accused of molestation of a child, and it's six episodes, and it shows you no matter how good the intentions are, people make mistakes, errors are made, and I found it, for me personally, just fascinating how lives can be so changed because people in authority, people out in authority, we're human beings. Mistakes are made. Things are overlooked. Processes are not followed, and the consequences of those things can be dramatic. And I think many of the United States population, probably worldwide, there's a concern. Is this safe? Can I take it? And for people who have no signs or symptoms, it's a hard sell. I mean, for me personally, I have no signs, no symptoms. I'm perfectly healthy. Why do I want to take it? So for me personally, I took it because for my team members and for the patients that come to me, I want to show them that I'm trying to do anything I can to make sure that they're comfortable. Because, most people don't want to go to the dentist. Most of the patients that I've seen in the last year,
Are you kidding me?
they're coming because they have a problem. They generally have an infection or they're in pain. They're not saying, geez, I just wanted to come to this appointment.
Most people don't want to go to the dentist. The Captain Obvious commercial's
Yeah.
right in my head right now.
Yeah, for those
Yes, I
who
wonder
think
what Dr. Kevin Coughlin is doing. I think I'll visit him. I'd love to see that really smiling face.
I want to go
love
sit in
that
the chair.
sharp object that he puts into my mouth. I love that. Give it to me. Come
Actually,
on, bring
Bob,
it
in
on.
38
You
years,
got a
no one's
needle
ever
for
come
me,
for me
Doc?
for that. But the key is sometimes people have problems. And matter of fact, I would say well over 90% of the cases that I see on a day-to-day basis in the last year have been infection, pain, and clinical problems. And they feel forced to go. And the public sometimes doesn't think of it, but let's just say you were planning to have a hip replaced, a knee replaced. God forbid you needed an organ transplant. You got to have your dental health in order to decrease the chance of complications and infections. And those people still need to be seen. They still need care. And anyone who's had a toothache or an infection in their mouth, that's not a fun thing. You need to get service. You need to get care. So we're open, as many dentists are. And
Well, if people wanted to see your smiling face, just to come in and visit you, Doc, how do they find you?
Oh, they find me? Well, I'd be out in the street waving them in. Okay, come on in. I need the business. But basically speaking, Ascent Dental Care has been providing general and specialty dental care from 7:30 to 8 o'clock at night, Monday through Friday, and from 8 to 1 on Saturday. And is that my good friend in the background barking?
That's Frankie. Yeah, he hears your
Frankie.
voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if the audience can see. I got a nice gash right here because my daughter and her husband purchased a birdadoodle. and
A what?
a Bernedoodle. It's a Bernese and a poodle mixed, and the dog is about 95 pounds. And
I was going to say a Burmese mountain dog,
yeah,
and
a
a poodle.
Bernese mountain dog. That's had some kind of relationship with a poodle.
I was going to say
Created
my son has one of those things, and I'm like, okay, when it was a puppy, I'm going, that's going to grow into those paws, right?
Oh yeah, and it attacked me this weekend. I was wrestling with it on the ground, and they had just had it groomed. It scratched my face, my arm, my back, but beautiful, beautiful dog. Friendly
Yeah, they
dog.
are beautiful. Yeah,
very enjoyable weekend with them.
So was the dog wanting to kiss your face, or was it a stay away from me, doctor?
Let me tell you, if I had
You're a
patients like this
dentist. Oh my
dog,
God,
it would be
stay away.
unbelievable. This dog, as soon as it sees me, and actually almost any human being, the dog just falls in love. Very, very personable pet. I could be a serial murderer, I think, and the dog would still be all over me.
You're lapping yeah.
Just a friendly animal.
The dog needed to go out. Our dog needed to go out. James took him out. That was what that was all about.
Yeah, well, you tell James, very good. It was interrupting our incredibly important show, that barking. I was making a very important point on oral health.
You were making a very important point.
Yes.
So, AscentDental.com.
Yeah, Ascent Dental is my dental business, and then Ascent Dental Solutions is my consulting business to help healthcare professionals try to get their business and their life on track.
What's that one that's going to take care of my water?
Oh, that's Ascent Laser Aesthetics. And Ascent Laser Aesthetics focuses on the treatment of injectables, PDO sutures, radio frequency, lasers, and intense pulse light. I don't believe there's a med spa anywhere that has the devices that we offer at Ascent to reduce fat, to improve muscle tone, to get rid of wrinkles, scars, hair, tattoos. Pretty much almost anything you don't want, we can get rid of. And the things you do want, which is less fat and more muscle, we have those devices too. So
I got a neighbor I want to get rid of.
Yes, that's a more serious thing, and that device is called a weapon. Okay.
And my reclamation project right now is too big.
It is.
Oh, for God's sake!
You don't have enough storage for all that fat, doctor.
Oh, don't say that. You're doing great.
Doc,
You're doing great.
Doc, you've often mentioned the word spa, and what's your spa like over there? I mean, I know you have a.
I refer to it as a medical spa.
Bob, why don't we go over there and do a show there?
Yeah, we ought to go over. Yeah.
Yes.
Doc,
we've been talking about doing a show, and someday we'll get over there and do a show. And
how about in the next week or two, within the next month, Bob? You need to schedule an afternoon over there, and we'll do the show over there.
Oh, an afternoon, you'll walk out a new man. Okay. And
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll do this. I'm actually redoing a schedule for the year. I actually have come up with some really new things that Peter and I were talking, and we're going to have the same wonderful doctor on our program all the time, but there will be some new faces and stuff. So this is a good thing. We could go out there, and you too could take your little eyeglass and look at my spots and think of what you want to remove.
Oh, yes. I might do it right on camera. That would certainly impress the audience, huh? But I can tell you that business...
What's the facelift that you could do quickly on camera?
Yes, there is. And
there is one.
That's called the lunchtime facelift. It takes between 15 and 20 minutes, and generally nobody even knows you had it done. And basically, if you could imagine putting a suture underneath your skin and pulling that suture back, and you place that suture on the sides of the face instead of doing an incision, and that suture has little barbs or little twists in it, and as it catches the skin, it pulls it tight. Then as you pull it tight, you clip the suture, and it has a duration of about 18 to 24 months. Generally, there's no scarring, sometimes absolutely no bruising, and you're back to work.
Gino.
Yeah.
Bobby's going to put a chain link fence in your face.
Yes, yes.
Well, you said something that kind of has me puzzled.
And we have 3 minutes left.
You can have this procedure done, and nobody knows you did it.
Yes.
So
now,
why would you do it?
Well, when I say nobody knows you do it, if you had a surgical procedure done, you're going to have bruises.
Black and blue, and okay, yeah, all right. I was just kidding, you know.
But I can tell you that if you listened to the healthcare provider and tried to stay within normal. In other words, if you wanted 50 sutures on each side of your face, you're going to walk out and you're going to be so tight you won't be able to smile or look.
Yeah.
But you have to
God's
understand
sakes, no.
that your customer or patient has significantly different wants and needs. And I've seen that more in the med spa business than any other healthcare. In other words, lip enhancements. I mean, when you start to put in 2 mLs of filler into the upper and lower lip, I think it looks grotesque. It doesn't look normal. It doesn't look natural. I advise against it. But if
they
Mary
want it anyway,
or Sue says, that's what I want, that's what I'm paying for, all you can do is guide, educate. But in the end, that patient knows what they want, and in their eyes, that's what beauty is.
Gina, you and I are going to go over and we'll have some treatments done.
Yes.
Figure out what treatment you're going to have done, Gino.
Well, actually, you're both perfect.
I'll have
I would advise nothing. Okay.
A good answer here.
Yes.
But I will have a decision for next month.
Yes.
Fair enough.
All right.
Hey, Doc, we got to say goodbye to you, and we thank you for enduring. And I'm sorry for the ins and outs of my my internet here, but I appreciate your coming in and being there for us every month.
Well,
Dr.
it's been a
Kevin
pleasure to
Coughlin.
do it, and I thank you guys. Have a great new year. Be safe, be healthy, and
Wonderful.
thanks for everybody.
Thank you. Hey, Peter, why don't we go out? I think if there's going to be a movie about this year, this song, actually, it's a classical piece by Aaron Copland, played by Leonard Bernstein, Appalachian Spring. It's the end of the Appalachian Spring number. It's using an old Shaker song called "'Tis a Gift to Be Simple, 'Tis a Gift to Be Free." We got to simplify, and so this is a great. It would be rolling on the credits at the end of this, as my Wisconsin music director points out. This is a great ending of a great movie. Or a lousy movie, if you look at 2021 or beyond, or in the past as a lousy movie. This would be the rolling over credits thing. Hey, I'll see you on the other side. Get out there and volunteer. Thank you, Peter. And there's Kenny. Let's play Aaron Copland's Appalachian Spring for an ending. Thank you, guys. See you next week.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Barnes & Noble College Bookstore in the Ely Campus Center, offering Westfield State t-shirts, sweatshirts, and gift merchandise, all of your academic needs, and offering textbook materials in new, used, ebook, and rental formats. Available at the bookstore on campus or online at westfieldstate.bncollege.com.
Underwriting for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Westfield, serving the youth of the Whip City and surrounding communities since 1969. For more information on the Great Futures Club for ages 3 to 5, happening weekdays, and the Club Teen Center for ages 11 and older, weekdays from 6:30 till 8 p.m., go online at bcgwestfield.org or visit the club at 28 West Silver Street. The Boys and Girls Club of Greater Westfield. Great futures start here.
Hi, it's Bob Plass, and